Hello everyone, it's Kari, and today I have a fun project creating a gift card set of cards. I have this Majestic Mistletoe stamp set from Altenew and a bunch of distress oxides to start with. And I've cut down this paper to 9 by 9 so that I can get it ready for making a gift box for all the cards I'm going to make for this gift set. I'm going to start with the Twisted Citron Distress Oxide, and I'm just using a stamping block. I didn't have very good luck just stamping this, so I found my Altenew stamping mat. And I decided to try it with this. This is a silicone mat and it's got a little bit of give to it. So when you use it for stamping, your stamping comes out so much better. I like this because when I can't use the Misty, my results get so much better. So you can see the two on the left there that I did at first, and they didn't turn out nearly as good. So now I'm going to do the second stamp here in this layering stamp set. I'm going to do that with the Shabby Shutters. And now I'm going to take the third layering set and I'm going to use a turquoise with this peacock feathers, and I'll stamp that right in the middle. And look at what a fun color that gives with the turquoise. It almost is kind of like a darker green. So it makes these mistletoe leaves look really pretty. Now I will take the smaller leaf set and we're just going to fill in some of the blank spots here with a darker green ink. This is the pine needles. And look how great those stamped out. This stamping mat cleans up really well too, and I love it so far. Now it's time to turn this into our card box. So I have the envelope punch board here and I'm going to line it up at the 3.5 inch mark, and then I'll punch the top here, which creates kind of a cut, and then I'll score that line. So you can see it did punch out that notch at the top, and I'm going to move it down to the 4.5 inch line and I'm going to punch and notch one more time. Then when you turn it, you just line up those lines that you've scored before with that little arm that kind of comes out. Then you punch and score, so you'll do that twice on each side, and you'll turn it until you've done all the sides, till you get something like this. Now on the back of this punch, there is a corner rounder. So I'm going to go ahead and put them all in, and it rounds the corners so that it gives you more of a finished look. And now I'm just going to kind of cut into those notches on each end. I'm going to end up actually cutting one of those off, one of the ends off there, and you'll see that in just a minute. So now it's time to fold this box up to prepare for the cards to fit inside. But as I started folding down those edges, I realized the ink was still wet, and I was a little impatient and didn't want to wait for it to fully dry. So I'm going to use some of this Judikin's Sparkle Embossing Powder, and I'll heat set that over this ink. And you can see the glitter and the sparkle in that beautiful embossing powder. And now it's safe to fold up all those score lines that we scored earlier. So you can see that I am cutting off the notches on one end because we won't need those. And on the other end, I'm going to add score tape to the notches. Now I found that score tape is the strongest for keeping these boxes together. So that's what I would recommend. And then I'm going to put some skinnier score tape. This is the 1/4 inch score tape or the 1/8 inch. I'll have it linked below on the edges there where the envelope is going to fold up. So this box is starting to come together. I'm just going to peel off that reveal paper there, or the release paper. And before I completely close the box up, I realized that some of the ink has come onto the back side there. So I want to create a liner. So I did that in much the same way, but I just made it a little bit smaller around the edges. So there would be a white border. And I glued that in with my ATG gun. Now I am removing that release paper, but I realized it's so much easier when you have cards in there so that you can make sure that you close that up exactly where it needs to be so that the cards will still fit in and it'll be a nice box. So now to finish off this gift card box, I'm going to add some Nuvo Jewel Drops in 2 different colors of pink and red, and then I'm going to set that aside to dry. Now, when I create gift cards that I'm going to gift as a package, I like to have some elements that are all the same. So I've inked up all these panels and I have some additional papers here in all these colors of blues, turquoise, yellow, and pinks. And basically I picked these colors because those are the inks that I had. I also have some glitter paper and these die cuts cut out. These are the layered Snowflake die set. I'll have that link below as well, but I cut one out of white paper and one out of gold glitter paper. I layered those on and then I put them on one of my inked backgrounds. Look how beautiful that looks with the gold glitter behind. Now I'm going to take this set here and I will stamp out one of those sentiments. I decided on To My Dear Friend, and I will heat emboss that on black paper with some white embossing powder. Now I'm going to go through really quickly all these cards because I have 6 of them to share with you. This is going to be a gift set of 6 different cards. So once I had embossed that, I just cut those out into sentiment strips and I popped them up with some 3M foam tape on this card. I also popped up those flowers with foam tape so that it's a very dimensional, beautiful card. I did glue one down, I believe, and then popped up the other. So now I'm going to take this yellow inked background that I did and this beautiful Wreath stencil, I think it's called Wonderful Wreath Stencil, and I'm going to ink that on using the Twisted Citron ink and my domed ink blending tool here, which is now one of my favorites. And then I will offset the wreath just a little bit so that I can add some glitter paste on there in emerald green. And this is such a beautiful glittery paste. I really, really like it. And I love how it came out with the lighter green below and that glitter paste on top. And now I'm going to set this aside to dry for quite some time before I do anything else to that card. For this card, I used some circle dies to create some circle frames. And these are kind of fun. I just used 2 different circle dies and layered them together to create these frames. Now I'm going to use this wonderful stamp that says, "Always believe that something wonderful is about to happen." I love that stamp. So I'll stamp that on with the Misty and some VersaFine Onyx black ink and pop up that flower with some foam tape, and there is our next card. For this one, I inked up the background using those Altenew inks in the pink colors. Now I'm going to take this Wavy grid stencil and I will take one of the darker pink inks and just ink it on using a makeup brush here. And I'm just going to do that on the sides that are the darkest so that it'll have a little bit of that stencil on there. And this is so beautiful and such an easy technique to do. And now I'm going to take some flowers and I've arranged them how I want them. So I'm going to take them off using some Glad Press and Seal here, which is a trick I've learned from Lori Willison. And I am going to stamp on that stamp that says, "You're so beautiful." Actually, I think I'm going to heat emboss this one in gold to give it a little more shine to this card. So I'm using my Misty once again, and I used my embossing buddy bag before I inked this on with Versamark ink, and now I will take that gold embossing powder and emboss that sentiment right on. This is a simple technique. If you get a little extra embossing powder around the edges, just brush it off with a dry paintbrush. Now I'm taking those florals that I had arranged earlier and I'm putting some glue on the back all in one swoop because they're attached to this Glad Press and Seal. And then I will let that dry for a minute or two, take off the press and seal, and then I will cut off the edges of those flowers so that it matches up with the edges of the card. Now we'll just attach this to the card base, and to finish it off I'm going to add some gold sequins and also some clear sequins. These are kind of like iridescent clear sequins, and I'm just going to attach those with my deluxe adhesive as well. And there's that card. For the next card, I'm using some paper from Altenew. This is from the Pastel Dreams pack, I believe. And I'm going to use these versatile vases, and I will clear heat emboss that on so that I don't smudge any of that work. I just quickly heat emboss that, And I'm moving my heat gun very fast so that it does not warp the paper. And then I'm going to cut out the center of this vase, just using my X-Acto knife here. I'm being very careful, and I'm just doing the sides first and following along the inside of that stamped and embossed vase. And then I'll go along the bottom there, following that line as well, and right along the top. And I'm going to completely cut that out because we're going to make this one into a shaker card. I have some packaging here. I like to recycle my packaging whenever possible, and these work really well for making shaker cards. So I just cut a piece out that's going to fit that opening, and I'm adding some score tape in this thin size here, just around the opening. I will remove the backing paper there to reveal that tape, and then I will add that packaging right to the opening. So this is going to start to create that clear see-through vase look for us. I decided that I wanted my flowers to go right into the vase, so I'm cutting a slit in the top there of that vase so that the flowers can be placed right inside, and the stems will be behind the packaging so they'll look like they're actually in the vase. It's kind of a fun look and a fun thing to do. I will pop those flowers up using some 3M foam tape, and I did that to all 3 of them there, and now we are ready to build this shaker card up with some foam tape around the back. So I'm going to put it all around the opening there and all around the edges as well. And now I'm just marking off where that vase hits on my card base. I'm going to ink on some ink so that the vase looks like it has a little bit of water in there. I use some blues and some greens to give it a vibrant look and make it really pop. And now I know right where to put my crystal clear sequins. These are the iridescent sequins here, and they are so pretty to go inside the vase. So now all that's left to do is to remove that backer paper, add it to the card base, and there you have a very simple shaker card and a birthday bouquet. That's so beautiful. So this is our birthday card out of the set here. I'm just adding a few of those sequins to the front as well, just to give it a little more shine. Look how pretty that shaker is. I love how this card turned out. For our next card, I am going to use the pink inked background, and I'm going to use this Plaid Builder stencil from Altenew as well. I'm going to ink on some turquoise ink to this one, and then for the second layer here, I'm going to leave that on so that I can add some Nouveau glitter paste in Moonstone. I love this one because it's clear and you can still see through a little to the color. I am almost out. In fact, I think it's time to reorder that. That's how much I love that color. So I'm going to stamp out this grateful stamp and just cut it out, fussy cut it with my scissors so that I have a sentiment to pop up onto this card. I cut down that background just a little bit so there was a little bit of a white frame around the entire thing. I added the flower to this card and the sentiment to finish this card here. I love all the texture on this card and the sparkle with that glitter paste. So beautiful. So there's our grateful card. Look, I hope you can see some of that shining in the light there. Now we're going to finish off this wreath card. I'm going to use that Hello stamp. This is from the mini Hello stamp set. We're going to stamp that on with just some black ink. And then to finish off the wreath, I will put on some Nouveau drops and some glitter gemstones. So this is going to give it kind of a Christmassy holiday feeling, but not too Christmassy because you can really use this card for any occasion. I'm going to use those same Nouveau drops that I used before on the packaging and just spread those around the wreath. And I also used the lighter pink to go around the edge of the card just to add some more details to this card. And I really love how this looks with the glitter leaves on top of the lighter green leaves with the gemstones and the Nouveau drops. And here you can see the lighter color. I start to add those around where the other red berries are and then around all the edges. And this is such a light and translucent color that it really shows up as just a beautiful decoration. Here you can see what that looks like there. I love this card. We're almost finished with our cards here. So I want to show you, actually we are, here's all 6 of the cards we've made. Can you believe we made 6 cards so quickly? It really helps when you have all the elements ready to go, ready to be put together. I pre-stamped all of those florals and had the backgrounds ready and the papers all gathered together. So now I'm going to use some of this recycled ribbon. You can see that it's very wrinkly. So I took that to my iron, and then I had this from a packaging, and I just saved it because that corrugated cardboard is just so pretty. So the last thing we have to do is to stamp. The stamp on the back says handmade by Kari V. So I'm going to just go ahead and stamp all of these cards on the back so that I can get them ready for the packaging. I'm going to trim that cardboard down in half or as close as I can get to being in half. And now we're ready to build this belly band around the packaging. So I'm going to use some hot glue here to glue that around the edge. And I'll just put a acrylic block over the top here while that dries. I'm going to do it to our other one here too because I have a masculine card set that's going to be in a different video. I'll link it here as well. So if you're interested in the masculine card set, that you could watch that one as well. So this is going to be for that one. I'm just doing them at the same time here, and if I've done it right, you'll be easily able to slide off that band and be able to see the cards inside. So I already have the envelopes in. I'm going to add the cards now, and we'll wrap this right up using the recycled cardboard and the recycled ribbon. I'm going to tie right around that cardboard. This is so perfect for a Christmas gift. As you can see, I did package this one up as Christmas, but you could actually do any occasion, decorate the outside in any stamps that you like and any colors that you like. So here's the bow. I'm just going to finish that off with a tag that I created. I used the same exact stamp set to create the tag, and I also inked up around the edges so that the edges were a little dark so that it wouldn't kind of get lost on the packaging. To add the tag, I'm just going to use some red baker's twine here, and I will tie that on in a little bit of a knot, and that tag can be written on to and from or whatever you want to write. I'll just snip off the ends of that baker's twine, and there you have our package of 6 cards ready for gifting, all ready to go. I hope you enjoyed this project today. It was sure a lot of fun to make, and you can see that that slides right off and right on, just so easy for the recipient. As I said, I will have all the products linked below if you're interested. Here's a look at all 6 of those cards for this gift set. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. I hope you will subscribe to my channel so that I can see you again. And I will link to the other masculine card set as well if you are interested. I hope I see you next time. Thanks so much for stopping by. Bye-bye.